Just want to take a moment. I used to come here with my ex-wife when we were still married and lived here. And we used to feed the birds together. I want to share about my remorse for my actions in my marriage. But I can't take back the things I did in my relationship with my ex-wife and the relationship with the woman I loved and was in love with before her. My ex-wife, when she began heavy witchcraft practicing, I want to say that started shortly after my dad passed away. She had very light tattoos, like just very feminine tattoos, and she went to her original artist, and her original artist no longer was an artist, and she referred my ex-wife to her master, and my ex-wife then went to her original artist master, and I ended up meeting her master, a tattoo artist who's from Japan, and a lady and her husband who was from here. And her husband passed away. He did a lot of tattooing on my torso, but right after my dad passed away, we developed a relationship, him and I, and his wife and my ex-wife, and something that took place while my ex-wife was getting tattooed. So all her feminine light colored tattoos, I noticed as she started practicing heavy witchcraft, she got everything very dark. Everything got redone over, very, very dark. I'm just noticing this. I'm just saying what I noticed. And her energy became very, very dark, and there was an apprentice that worked at the shop. She was a beautiful young lady. Just an amazing young lady, like character-wise. And this is how evil spreads. Just like with the love of my life, her younger sister's house with her sons, when her lover came in and he was doing what he was doing and using, I haven't talked about his use. The evil just infested the house, infested the family. Now, I'm not saying that we didn't previously all have evil, but he brought a level of evil that was just different. So I'm not saying my ex-wife brought a level of evil to this woman who's an apprentice. I'm just saying I noticed something. I'll give you an example, and I'm off subject, but I'd lay next to my ex-wife after my dad passed away and before he passed away, and I'd get sleep paralysis all the time, and I'd see look like they weren't human, so I'll just say there were black figures crawling on the ceiling coming toward me. My covers once moved down my body, by themselves when I was in sleep paralysis. That was before my dad passed away. Always when I'm laying next to my ex-wife. So I want to just share that my ex-wife, after we were married, I asked her if she ever worshiped Satan, and she said yes. And she never would say the word God. I asked her to say Allah once. I asked her to say Allahu Akbar, and she wouldn't say it. I asked her to say God, and she wouldn't say it. And no, she did say Jesus' name. She told me that I needed to get right with Jesus. And I'm not going to deny she to be right on that. Not at all. But she wouldn't say God. And she would not say Allah. And I am not Islamic, as we know. I'm a Christian man, but it's interesting how she would not say Allahu Akbar. She wouldn't say it. She would not say it. I asked her one night over and over. I've asked her many times. It was interesting, and I just am thinking about that now. I don't know what that means. You know, I could imagine what some Christians that believe Islam to be evil would say to me, that that's just the enemy playing tricks on you. I can understand that. From what I understand about the Prophet Muhammad, he used manipulation, intimidation, and domination, and rape. That's what I've understood about him. So I'll just leave that where that is. And it says in the Quran, it talks about killing people in the Quran. Nowhere does Jesus talk about doing that. There's Christian hate groups that talk about that, but I don't support that. That's just something man made up. Jesus would never do that. So back on to the young lady who's an apprentice. Beautiful, physically beautiful, and beautiful on the inside, from my opinion, from getting to know her. As I was there in the shop getting tattooed myself, interacting with, while my ex-wife was getting tattooed. This is it, shortly after my dad died, where I'm just watching this young lady blossom into an artist. And my ex-wife was having very regularly scheduled appointments and getting all of her original ink covered over in black. One day, her artist, the master of her original artist, couldn't see her and said, "Would you like so-and-so, the apprentice, to practice on you?" Because my ex-wife wanted to get her back done. She wanted to get this particular moth on her back done. She found this moth where my dad's body was found by the medical examiner when he passed away walking his dog. She found this moth in the same spot. It had to do with her witchcraft. I forget the name of the moth. And she wanted this moth tattooed on her back. It's massive. And my ex-wife wanted to put the young artist on too, so she gave the young artist the job. Said, "Yeah, let's let her." And she did a beautiful job on the piece. But here's what I noticed: from the moment she began tattooing my ex-wife, something happened to her. Now, I'm not saying that it transferred to her then. Maybe she was opening doors. But shortly thereafter, after she finished that moth on my ex-wife's back, and the behavior I saw from her, she wasn't on drugs either. Just like the love of my life's young sister, she had a stalker, not her man. Before her man assaulted her, she had a stalker, and I had an interaction with this dude, and he was just out of his mind, but he was sober. And I said, "Why are you harassing the love of my life's sister? Why?" And he said, "Because he called her a name," and I won't say the name he called her on here. But it was a supernatural name. He said, "Because she is that, and I'm obsessed and I can't let go." And I said, "You need to let go." And he said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Her sister's the love of my life. I'm here to protect her." And then he backed away. But the point is, he was sober, just like she was sober. Like people say, oh, they're just intoxicated. That's why I'm bringing this up. No. Now, do I think that it transferred through my ex-wife to her? The veil's been blown open for us. But she sure didn't act that way before that needle and that tattoo gun and her hands touched my ex-wife's skin and started getting blood and exchanging blood. No. Never. There was never that with her. And then she disappeared. And I just wanted to share. And I'll share more about my marriage. Look, my ex-wife's hatred for me and revenge that she wanted upon me, when I look back, if I was my ex-wife, I just am trying to put myself in her shoes. I can understand her frustration, her hatred, being who she is, and the way her family is. The spirit of hate is heavy in that family. So I can understand. Now, I'm not saying the spirit of hate isn't in me. It sure has been. Self-hate, projected onto others. The love of my life being one, my ex-wife being one. Yeah. And the spirit of hate, spirit of rejection, these are all very, very powerful, real things that people just think are just mental conditions of the human. No. And what I said, how that woman, that young lady who was just she was just a very calm, patient young lady, and she was just taken. Anyway, people, a lot of you understand these things, but some people are, searching for information on finding higher power and finding, the spirit world. And I leave these videos in hopes that they will help somebody in their quest. If you have any questions, you can email me and share with me. My love and prayers to you all in Jesus' holy name. Amen.